Okay, let's unpack this. We're jumping straight into Ezekiel chapter 4 today. And trust me, it's something else.
It really is. The prophetic actions described here are incredibly vivid, intense even.
Yeah, disturbing is a word that comes to mind. It's all about what's coming for Jerusalem, isn't it?
That's right. This chapter immediately throws you into these deeply symbolic, very physical commands given to Ezekiel. It kicks off with a visual sign.
Right, he's told to take a clay tablet. What's he supposed to do with it?
He have to draw the city of Jerusalem on it, and not just, a nice picture.
No.
No, he has to depict it under siege. So he's adding siege works, building a ramp against it, setting up camps all around, even placing battering rams.
Wow, so like a miniature, really grim model of the coming attack.
Exactly, a tangible representation. And then there's this detail about an iron pan.
Yeah, what's that about?
Well, he puts this iron pan between himself and the model city. It acts as an iron wall.
An iron.
Yeah, and he has to face the city he's drawn, signifying his prophetic stance against Jerusalem under siege. The text specifically says this whole thing is a sign to the house of Israel.
A sign. Meant to be completely undeniable, I guess.
You'd think so. But the physical demands on Ezekiel, they really escalate from just drawing. He's told to lie down.
Okay.
Yes, and for a very long time. First on his left side for 390 days.
390 days. Lying down.
Lying on his left side. And the text is clear. He's bearing the sin of the house of Israel for this period. Each day represents a year.
So 390 years of Israel's sin symbolically placed on him. What happens after all that time? That's over a year already.
Well, not quite yet, but then he switches. He turns over to lie on his right side
Okay.
for 40 days this time. And this is for the sin of the house of Judah. Same principle a day for each year.
40 years for Judah. So yeah, add that up. 390 plus 40, 430 days. That's well over a year of lying mostly still. Was this just like a suggestion, or is he actually stuck?
No, the text specifies he's actually tied up
Yeah.
with ropes.
Ropes. Seriously.
Seriously. It says, so God will put ropes on him to prevent him from turning from one side to the other until the days of his siege are over. It underlines the divine command, the inescapable nature of it. He couldn't just get up.
Wow. So he's literally bound for over a year, embodying the nation's sins, facing this tiny model of a doomed city. That's intense.
It is. And while this is happening, his daily life is also under strict, very strange rules, especially his food.
Right, the rations.
Exactly. His food and water are strictly controlled. He has to make specific grains and legumes, wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, spelt all together to make his bread.
A strange mix, and it's all measured out, isn't it?
Precisely. Just 20 shekels worth of this bread per day,
Mm.
eaten at set times.
Not much.
Not at all. And his water is rationed too.
Mm-hmm.
Only a sixth of a hin, again, drunk at fixed intervals. This whole rationed, meager existence is part of the message. It foreshadows the siege conditions.
Okay, now we get to the part that's really difficult. The instruction about how he's supposed to bake this bread.
Yeah, this is probably the most shocking detail in the chapter. It's designed to be visceral, unforgettable. He's told to bake the bread using human excrement as fuel.
Wait, what? Human waste as cooking fuel? That's just fundamental unclean by their laws, right? By any standard, really.
It absolutely is. And the text immediately explains why. God tells him, this is how the people of Israel will eat defiled food among the nations where there'll be exile.
So it's a symbol of that defilement, that desperation in exile.
Exactly. A sign that their normal ways, their purity laws, will be impossible to keep.
Yeah.
Utter defilement and desperation.
And you see Ezekiel's reaction here, right? He doesn't just accept it.
No, he pushes back immediately.
Yeah.
He protests, basically says, look, I've never defiled myself, never eaten anything unclean or forbidden. It's a very human, very understandable reaction.
He objects strongly to that specific command. It's too much.
It seems so. And interestingly, there's a concession from God.
He relents.
Yes, a crucial concession. God allows him to use dried cow manure instead of human excrement for fuel.
Okay, still not exactly pleasant, but...
Yeah. But significantly less defiling. And actually, using dried dung for fuel wasn't totally unheard of in that world. It shows God responding to the prophet's plea, even within this harsh sign act.
So all these graphic, really difficult actions, the drawing, lying bound for months, the ropes, this rationed, bizarre bread baked over dung, what's the ultimate punchline for Jerusalem itself?
The chapter ties it all together at the end. The Lord declares he will cut off the supply of bread and water in Jerusalem, just like Ezekiel's rations.
So Ezekiel's experience is a preview.
A direct preview. The people will eat meager rations, drink measured water, but an overwhelming anxiety and despair because it's real famine, real siege.
The text says they'll be appalled at the sight of each other. That's chilling.
It is. Witnessing the starvation, the suffering, and ultimately they themselves will waste away because of their sin. Ezekiel's acted out suffering becomes the living prophecy of Jerusalem's actual fate.
These were just incredibly vivid, really undeniable signs of the judgment and exile coming because of, well, the collective sin.
Exactly. It wasn't just words anymore. It was this year-long, physically grueling performance art, almost, designed to shock and inform.
Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it?
Oh.
About the lengths divine communication might go to when maybe words alone aren't getting through. The sheer intensity, the personal cost to the prophet.
And how tangible the consequences of collective actions, or maybe inaction and refusal to repent, were made. Right there, in the prophet's own body.
Definitely. So these disturbing but deeply meaningful signs of judgment and exile, maybe something to ponder is, what does this suggest about how far God might go to get our attention? And what it says about the real-world impact of our collective choices leaves you thinking.